is not even 48 hours after the tragic shooting in Parkland, Florida, and the left is already blaming President Trump for it. These vile leftists, in an attempt to continue to divide the country, are using this tragic event to further fuel the fire of hatred against Trump. Of course, we have seen this nasty behavior for the last year from politicians and top athletes, but you would think in a time of grief they would give it a rest. Well, that thought would be wrong, as LeBron James just proved in a recent racist rant against the president this past Thursday. Then this nasty player took it a step further by making a sick accusation about Trump and the Florida shooting victims that has our president fuming with anger. During Barack Obama's administration, he did all that he could to divide our country, that by the time Trump was elected as president, we were in complete chaos. Families have been ripped apart, friendships ruined, and race relations are at an all-time low in our country, which has only made leading it even more difficult. As President Trump continues to try and mend our fractured country, the left is hell-bent on advancing more division. One vile and racist leftist that is intent on creating more division in the country is basketball player LeBron James of the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have often spoken disparagingly against President Trump. However, after the atrocity that occurred in Parkland earlier this week, James is speaking out again, making an outrageous claim that will turn your stomach. In a recent interview, James appeared on Uninterrupted, a show hosted by ESPN's Carrie Champion, saying that President Trump does not give a f*** about the people, and that is not all. Relative portion beginning around the 5:16 mark. Here are some of the highlights of James' interview as reported by Breitbart. The climate is hot. The number one job in America, the appointed person, is someone who doesn't understand the people and really don't give a f about the people, James said of Trump. James added, "While we cannot change what comes out of that man's mouth, we can continue to alert the people that watch us, that listen to us, that this is not the way." As the conversation in the car shifted toward what Champion called Trump's racist comments, James said what comes out of Trump's mouth is laughable and scary at the same time. "It's not even a surprise when he says something. It's like laughable," James said. "It's laughable, and it's scary." Now, this is not the first time that James has slammed President Trump publicly, and you can be sure it won't be his last. For instance, last August, after the violent clashes in Charlottesville, VA, James bashed Trump, calling him a so-called president, and even went as far as to imply that he was a racist too. Here is more from USA Today. The 33-year-old James, who is among the most recognizable athletes in the United States, has not been shy about criticizing Trump since he took office last year. In the wake of violent protests in Charlottesville, VA, in August, James referred to Trump as the so-called president and the need to unify as a country without him. 1 month later, at Cleveland's Media Day, he spoke at length about his frustration with Trump's rhetoric and referred to the president as that guy. Then, during a December game in Washington, he wore one white shoe and one black shoe with the word equality on the heel. "Obviously, we know where we are right now. We know who's at the helm," James said when asked about the shoes. James, who supported Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton in the 2016 presidential election, has been one of several prominent NBA figures to denounce Trump over the past year. Steve Kerr of the Warriors, Greg Popovich of the San Antonio Spurs, and Stan Van Gundy of the Detroit Pistons have been among the most vocal coaches with their criticism, in addition to several players. It is entirely mind-blowing to me that after a tragedy occurs that so many people in this country, including politicians and athletes, would use the time only to cause further division. When people are already at the lowest point in their lives, that is not the time to manipulate the feelings with this nasty rhetoric against our nation's leader. It is one thing to dislike someone in office based on policy, but it is quite another to make up lies to only cause more dissent in an already fractured country. Now is the time that we band together behind our president and work in unison to mend the fences that Obama and his administration destroyed for close to a decade. However, that won't happen if we continue to allow these brainwashed liberals to keep spreading hate across the country. That is why we need to be out there countering these vile lies with truth, since that is the only way we can win back our country and defeat these nasty leftists for good. For the web powered by Zergnet, Olympic figure skater handles wardrobe malfunction perfectly. The victims of the Florida school shooting revealed. Here's who Jackie Kennedy thought had her husband killed. Deputies called to FL shooter's home 39 times in 7 years. The real reason Jennifer Aniston and Justin Theroux split. Donald Trump's bizarre hairdo finally explained.